Hi everybody, we are doing something a little different today. I have got my computer here. I'm going to show you how to set up Cronometer. This is going to be Cronometer tutorial part 1. I'm going to hopefully show you how to set it up, how to set your macros, and how to sync your devices. And then there'll be a subsequent video on adding foods and recipes and that sort of thing. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, and I do recipes for keto and carnivore. I have lots of YouTube videos that you can check out, and welcome to my channel. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that are new, I have lost over 130 pounds, and right now I'm using Cronometer to track things. So I'm going to show everybody how I set mine up. So let's get to it. We're going to share my screen so that you can see what is happening here. You do need to have an email address to sign up for Cronometer. They will email you with a confirmation email and all that. Also, I have provided a link below for the free Cronometer. I will probably, as we go, maybe in the next video, I'll explain why I prefer Cronometer to some of the other free ones. But for now, I just want to get you guys signed up and started and all that. So, okay, so what you see on the screen now is the sign up screen, and I'm going to set up a new free account because that would be the best way to show you. So I am going to sign up right here, and it's a nice big green button. So hopefully you see that, and we'll just press that. Now here's where it wants your email address. So put in whatever email address you want to use. You're going to need to set up your password, and your password has to be at least 12 characters long. Okay. Then it takes you right down to some information to put in about your height, weight, age, gender, all that. And it's tempting to just bypass all that, but it uses that information to calculate your TDEE, which stands for your total daily energy expenditure, which can also be referred to as your BDR and activity level. In other words, it helps to calculate how many calories you use in just your daily activities. So we'll get to more of that later. So I highly recommend that you do fill this part out. Put in your birth date, and of course the year is the most important thing, because that way it knows your age. And check that you agree to their privacy settings, all their other terms and conditions. You can opt out of their newsletter, promotional emails, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna, okay, this last one, I agree to receive personalized ads. You don't have to agree to that, but they're gonna show ads anyways. So I just leave it all on there, but I'm gonna take out the email. So then this is where it tells you it has sent you a verification link to the email that you chose. And so then you need to go back to your email and get that verification link in order to use Cronometer. So I'm going to go over there and find it. There it is. It'll say Cronometer support, account activation, validate your account, and continue. Okay, so now we have Cronometer. We're logged in, and I've got it on the first thing you see when you go in. This is your dashboard, and at this point there's really nothing to report. So there's not much there. We are going to do some setups. So we're going to set up our macros and that sort of thing, as well as sync up our devices for those of you that are going to use that. So along the side here is your selections. We will be going into the diary, but first I want to set up our profile and targets. So that's right on the side here, and we will go in there. Now it is going to remember, if you did put in your gender and age when we first installed Cronometer, it will remember that. If you didn't do it at that time, this would be a good time to do it, because you will see why it's important. Once Cronometer knows your age and height and all that, is going to make some assumptions about how many calories you burn in a day. So let's just scroll down, and if you have not already, I do recommend setting up your gender, date of birth, especially the year, your height, your weight, and then from that it knows your BMI and your body fat. And we get down to this part here, energy burned. Now this relates to TDEE, which is total daily energy expenditure. Based on the information I gave it, it is giving me a default of 1,390 calories. That is my base metabolic rate. That's the amount of energy that a person needs just for their, just to be at rest, like just to sort of carry your body around at rest for the day. We're going to add in our activity level at this point, and there's a couple of different options here. So right now I've got it set to none, and if you have a Fitbit or some other activity tracker that does sync with Cronometer, and you want to use that and it calculates everything 24/7, set your setting here to none. So, and the reason for that is it will keep track of all your activity for the day. For example, if I go to Costco, I can use up 3,000 or 4,000 steps just from a trip around the store at Costco, because it's such a big store. So it will know that. If you don't wear your if you have an activity tracker and you don't wear it all the time, you just wear it for exercise, we're going to do something different. And I'll show you that. But for here, this is why I have it set to 0 right now. The other choices are setting it to sedentary, light active, moderately active, very, and then I don't know what the custom one would be. That would be hard to figure out. But if you don't wear this or you don't plan to synchronize it, then I would choose one of these other options. So sedentary being that you only track workouts with this, you're not tracking your general activity, and you don't get much exercise in between, like maybe you have a desk job all day. The next one up would be lightly active, which means that you do a lot of stuff around the house, around the office, you're always on your feet, light exercise, and so on. I'll let you read those and choose the one that is right for you, unless you wear this 24/7 and are going to sync it. So I'm going to put it back to 0, and then I'm going to tell it here that I want my activity to be imported and have that entered into the calculation. So I'm going to turn this on, and so it will import activity from a connected device and override the selected activity when available. So that's what I want. The other thing that you can do is you can have it contribute, well, first of all, because I'm going to include my exercise, I'm going to turn that one on. I want it to calculate my activity in the calorie budget for the day. This next one is the thermic effect of food. Now, certain foods burn more calories, in eating and digestion than other foods. Protein is pretty high, and so that is good news for carnivores that eat protein, because you'll get some calorie credit for that. And so I have mine turned on. Then down below here, you can set whatever your goal weight is. Now, this is not your, this is where you actually want to end up. If you get that from a chart or something else, that's fine. You put whatever you're comfortable with in here. But whatever it is that you want to achieve, I'm just going to leave it at 150. I'm at the default here. There is, the next selection is how much weight do you want to lose? Right now it defaults to 0. So I'm going to just change it. So let's say it's a pound a week. We'll just leave it there. This is just an example and a guide. You, of course, can totally ignore all this part. If you're just wanting it to track your macros, that's up to you. But I find it a little bit useful, and so I have mine set. So let's just leave it at a pound a week. So it's telling us that in order to lose a pound a week, we need to have a daily deficit of 499 calories, which makes sense because, when you multiply that, 500 calories a week is going to be 3,500 calories. Theoretically, you could lose a pound. So we'll go with that. Now, here is where we can set our macros. You can also do a couple of different things here. I haven't tried the keto calculator yet. Well, because I don't want to, it's going to do some calculation that it suggests. I'm doing 80-20 right now. So I want to choose my own macros and not what they calculate. You can also choose fixed value, which means you can say, I want to hit 75 grams of protein in a day, or I want to hit 200 grams fat, or 100, whatever it is. I'm going to choose macros. Although I have done it with the actual fixed grams of protein and fat before. Right now I'm trying this way. And I am going to choose, let's see, what have we got here? So it has defaulted to 10% protein, 20% carbs, and 60% fat. So I actually do not want, I'm going to set my carbs to 0. And I'm going to up the protein here a bit till it gets to, you can see this one here is changing as I'm upping the protein. I want my protein, I'm going to set it to 20%. So we're almost there. Okay, so right now I have it set to 80% fat and 20% protein. And you'll see how that looks when we get to the diary later, the food diary. The other thing is, just because you have these set to these amounts, that does not mean that you have to eat exactly that. This is just as a guide so that you can see where you're landing, and that is it. There's nothing that is going to force you to have 0 carbs or this many protein or whatever. It's only a guide. Here is our carbohydrates. Now you can track in terms of net carbs or total carbs. I highly recommend you choose total carbs. Down here, there's all kinds of things that you can customize. I completely ignore all this, and I'm just worried about the macros. I do not want or care about the percentages of vitamins, minerals, all that kind of stuff. If you have some kind of a medical condition that requires that you get X amount of a certain nutrient, then here, this is where you can set that. I generally completely ignore this whole section. Okay, so now we have our macro set to 80-20, and we are going to set our, I'm gonna sync the my Fitbit and the KetoMojo. Now, I do want to tell you that you don't have to do that, and there is another way to do it, which I will show you. For those people that have a Fitbit and want it to integrate to this or sync to this, I'm going to show that next. If you have a Fitbit and you don't want to sync, skip to the next part, because I'm going to walk through how you can still use that and incorporate that. If you don't have any activity tracker at all, but you still want to record your exercise, this will cover you as well. So let's just do the syncing now for those that have that. Okay, so that is down here under devices. So I'm going to select devices, and here's the first one is for Fitbit. So let's grab that. Now, you need to have, in order for this to come up like this, you need to actually have a free Fitbit account. So what'll happen is if you haven't logged into your account for a while, or you don't have an account, it will come up and you can create a free account. It's just fitbit.com. So I do have one, and it knows that. And I'm going to allow it to sync weight, sleep, food and water logs, heart rate, activity, and exercise. Although I don't keep track of any of those on my Fitbit, only the exercise and heart rate and sleep. So I am going to say allow. And there it is. And then the next thing that I want to see about is KetoMojo. There's KetoMojo. Now there's all kinds of other devices here, none of which I have, and so it all should be the same. You just go in. If you have an account, you probably need to be logged into your account or to create an account. So I'm going to try to connect to KetoMojo. I'm set up for Europe. They don't have Canada for some reason. And yeah, this wants me to log into that. And it is asking me to confirm that I want to grant access between Cronometer and my Mojo account. So I'm going to confirm that. And so here we are. So Fitbit and KetoMojo are both in here. So let's go back to the diary so we can see what that looks like. Okay, so here we go right away. We have activity already recording. So it has already given me 248 calories of credit, I guess is the best way to describe it. It seems to know that I had 6.5 hours of sleep, which is really good for me. It is improving all the time with my bedtime butter. Knows my heart rate. So there you go. Now the reason, so in theory, my morning glucose and ketones should be here, but I no longer use the KetoMojo. I just wanted to show you how to sync it. I use the 4/6 now, which I haven't been able to figure out how to sync those two together. So I am going to show you what we can do to get around that, as well as getting around the whole Fitbit thing. But first, let me show you this here. So here is our energy, what they call the energy summary. Now I haven't eaten anything today yet. So this is all zero, of course. Now, if you recall in the setup, it said my base metabolic rate was, I think it was 1390 or something like that, based on what I had put in there. So, oh, there it is. Yeah, 1390. You can see in the little window. It has already imported 248 calories credit. It is going to deduct 499 calories of goal of deficit. So you can see that here on the next one. So if I was just trying to maintain my weight, then I could eat 1,638 calories. But right now I had set it to 1 pound a week. So my deficit is 499, which means I have 1139 calories left. Now this is going to change throughout the day. Right now it's morning, I haven't done much, but if I go for a walk or, go to the gym or, do something that is going to burn calories, this remaining calories left to eat is going to keep going up throughout the day, which is nice. Now, I need to tell you at this point, you don't have to worry about the calories. I routinely go to 2,000 calories a day, which is well above my, base metabolic rate. And it's often over, like there's no deficit. It's often over, but I'm still losing a half a pound a week on average. So it is only a guide. It is not going to be accurate. There's a lot of things it doesn't know about you. And this is just, if you're struggling and you're doing everything else right and it's still not happening for you, this may be an area that you can look at and maybe drop your calories consumed by 10% to see what that looks like or feels like, or you know what I'm saying? It's just one more piece of data. At the moment, I'm ignoring it. I'm just teaching it to you so that you know it's there and you know that it's something you can look at should you need to. So far, I feel like I'm doing well considering I'm going way above. But at some point, I'm going to look more closely at this and I'm going to start tweaking it and seeing, can I affect my results with this? So there's more on that yet to come. But for now, I'm just setting it up as though I'm going to use it. If you do not have your Fitbit synced, or you don't want it synced, or you have a different device, here's what you can do. You can manually add your exercise right here. So let's say I didn't have this coming in here. So I'm just going to hit add exercise. They've got general walking here. You can just look, browse through the categories and maybe something here is something you do quite often. So let's say, they even have different household activities. They have gym, cardio, outdoor activity. I'm going to go with outdoor activity, canoeing, extreme sports, fishing burns, frisbee too. So there's some fun stuff here, hunting, power boating. Okay. Anyways, you can see there's quite a bit of things. So I would probably use swimming because I do go to Aquafit in the summertime, but here's walking. So let's choose walking, general walking, hiking, which, you've got a backpack and the treadmill. I'm just going to go with general walking because I do that, every day, almost every day. So let's say I'm just taking Teddy out for, 30 minutes just as a stroll through the neighborhood. Let's just go ahead and add that in. And here we go. So we've got our 90 calories of credit here. Go down here. So a few minutes ago, I had 1,100 and some odd calories. I've gone for a walk. Now I can eat a little bit more. And over here, it gives you the list of all your activities. So that is how you can get around not using a Fitbit or not syncing your Fitbit. So so if I had a Fitbit and I had 10,000 steps in a day, I can also add those in based on a ratio that they seem to use for Fitbit. So they've got 248 calories burned to my approximately 2,500 steps. So from that, I can calculate that if I had 10,000 steps.
Okay, it's about 10%.
So if I had the Fitbit and I didn't want to sync it, but I wanted to count all my steps, I could just take a ratio. It seems to be about 10%, so 10,000 steps would give me 1,000 extra calories, and I could just plunk that in here. So that's an option. Or I can bump up my, when we were back here in the profile and targets, I can bump myself up to a higher level of activity and let it just kind of give me that extra calculation. So there's many different ways you can do it, and I hope that I've kind of covered that. I also want to show you how to add, if you want to, how to add your own ketones and blood glucose. If you want to have that in here, you can just add biometric right here. They call it a biometric. So just hit that. So this, I was playing with it earlier. So this was my blood glucose, my blood glucose and my ketones from yesterday. And so I added that in for yesterday. So I am going to see if it will let me now add that in. So you just, if you've already been in there and added your blood and glucose yesterday, you can add today's value. Let's just say it's 2.0, and we're going to add it to today's diary. So let's see. So there it is. And you can do the same with the blood glucose. So one last thing I want to show you before we end this session is the thermal effect of food on this whole calculation. I'm going to quickly add a food. I'm going to add a chicken breast. Let's say 6 ounces. Just going to add it real quick. And now you can see it's in the diary. And so 6 ounces of chicken breast gives you a thermal effect. You can see it right there, 57 calories. Our calorie balance, we burned 1785. We've got a deficit of 499. We've consumed 294 from eating the chicken breast. We have 992 left. And then you can see that that was mostly protein over here and a little bit of fat. Over here, if you hover over this, you can see that we are at 76% protein, 24% fat. In the next video, I'm going to show you more about adding foods, creating custom foods, creating recipes, and we're going to look a little bit more at the 80-20, and I'll show you some things that I use for that. So I hope this gives you enough information to get your account set up and get your, if you want your devices synced, go for it. If not, you now know how to put them in manually. If you have any questions, please ask them below. I'm going to watch these comments because I know that questions will come up. Also watch the second video that I just said. I'll link the two. They're both going to be released at the same time, so it's already going to be out there by the time you see this. So yeah, we'll see you in that video, and thanks for watching.